Haley drops me off at Uncle Thomas's house just as it starts to get dark. She stops the car at the curb, turns off the motor, and turns to look at me. "Is everything all right, Hank?" she asks. "No, Haley, things are not all right. They're bad, worse than you can imagine." "Well, I'm a little worried about Ryan." I'm amazed that my voice sounds calm, even with my insides shattered into a million pieces. "He keeps messing up the bridge, no matter how many times I remind him of the chords. He doesn't want to look like a fool up there. He'll get it." She taps the steering wheel with purple polished nails. "Are you worried about me too?" "No," I say. She looks up at me, and all hopeful, her eyes gleaming. "You have the most beautiful voice anybody is going to hear in the room on Saturday. Haley, I know it. The band knows it. Miss Coleman knows it. Anybody who's ever heard you sing knows it." She wipes a tear from her cheek. "I feel so stupid," she says. "You're not stupid, Haley. Just take care of yourself this time." I rub the back of my index finger across her soft cheek. "And if you get scared, just pretend it's you and me and you, all alone in the white room, making music." Haley tucks her arm into mine, snuggles her face in my shoulder. "Yeah, I like that. You and me and you," she murmurs. "Maybe it'll be okay after all." Of course it will. I lean my head against hers, breathe in the clean shampoo smell of hair, trying to memorize every detail of this moment. I could love this girl so easily. If only I could be normal and allow that to happen. Haley nuzzles her cheek against my shirt in silence for a moment, then gazes up at me as if she's trying to read me with those intense gold-flecked eyes. "What else is wrong, Hank? I know there's something. Talk to me, please." So here it is, my chance to tell Haley everything, to let her, for real, into the chaos that is my life. She slips a warm hand into my sweaty one and squeezes. I squeeze back until I'm afraid I'll crush her hand, and I let go. "You've always had this evasive, mysterious thing about you that's kind of sexy, but it's different now," she says. "To tell the truth, it's scaring me a little bit." "Oh, Haley, it would be such a sweet relief to let her hold on to me and tell me it would be okay. But what am I supposed to say? That I'm a loser criminal who robbed and assaulted some guy in New York and maybe killed my sister in a car accident that was totally my fault? She'd probably run away screaming and be afraid of me forever. How can I possibly tell her who I am or what I've done? God, I'm tired. No more fight in me. No more strength. Haley and music are the only good, pure things in my life right now. I can't spoil them too. Everything will turn into shit soon enough. Look at these next few days are all about you and music, Haley. Let's enjoy them, okay? After that, we'll talk and I'll tell you everything. I promise, okay? I'm not even sure what I mean by after that. Anything might happen after the Battle of the Bands is a huge void. My future is as blank and formless as my past used to be. So I'm buying time, just a couple more days. She nods reluctantly, and before I can speak, I give her a soft kiss, hoping she doesn't notice my lips trembling. "See you tomorrow, Haley." Then I get out of the car and gently shut the door. It's Thursday. I'm at the library, shelving nonfiction on the second floor, breathing in that old book smell. I figured I might as well live these last days in Concord as normally as possible. Doing work makes me feel like a normal person with some kind of normal purpose. It's hard to stay focused, though. I have to reshelve a whole pile of books I stuffed into the biography section when actually they belong in history. Whatever. One more day until the Battle of the Bands, and after Saturday night, I promised Thomas I would call my parents and face the truth about what happened in Naperville. Face the truth about New York City. Like what about the crimes I committed? Will the police conclude I was acting in self-defense when I clobbered Simon with that brick? Of course I fled the scene of a crime, and that doesn't look good. And I did take the guy's money, indirectly, but I still took it. Even if they don't throw me in jail, then what? It's not like I'll just be able to return to my old life. It's impossible to imagine going home, sleeping in my old bed, going to my old school, and trying to reconnect with friends. Aside from all the bad stuff, I've missed a lot of school, so I doubt I can graduate with my class in May. Not that it matters. My parents don't know this yet, but I'm not going to college. The day the acceptance letter came from Northwestern University, I hid it in the back of my sock drawer and went out for a 10-mile run. I didn't think of anything at all for the first 5 miles, except my body moving and the sneakers pounding on the asphalt. But finally, my mind cleared enough to realize the cold, hard, honest truth. I don't want to go to college. Not yet, anyway. A few days before the accident, I even called the college and told them I was delaying college for a year so I could figure out what I wanted to do. They were actually really nice about it, but my parents, no doubt, they were going to be pissed. God, my head is spinning. So much for normal. When I finished selfing, I slumped down in the chair next to me. Thomas, my long legs kicked out in front of me, exhausted, more from the war zone in my head than the work. You okay, Hank? I shrug. Just need to sit for a while. So I do, just listening to the clock in the library. To Thomas typing on his keyboard, absorbing the quiet peacefulness of this particular moment in time. This, now. I wish you'd been right, I said after a while. About what? About me being Thoreau reincarnated, I say. Thomas grins at me. Me too. I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask you. I lean back in the chair and gaze over the statue of Thoreau near Thomas's desk. Do you really think someone could live like him today? Sure, people do it all the time. There are people in the Northwest, like in Montana, living off the grid right now. Of course, there's a lot more grid these days than when Thoreau was around. There's no way a reincarnated Thoreau would choose to live in Walden Pond now, I say. Just the sound of traffic on Route 2 would drive them crazy. You got that right. So if Henry lived today, where would he go? Thomas grins at me like he's been hoping forever for someone to ask him this very question. This won't surprise you, but I've been giving that a lot of thought, and I have the answer for you. I thought you might. He gets up and goes over to a nearby shelf, peers at the titles through his glasses, then pulls one of the books out and hands it to me. I look down at the title, The Maine Woods by Henry David Thoreau. Maine, says Thomas. It's a huge state. There's still thousands of acres that are real wilderness. He was there? Yep. He took several trips up there when a lot of it was still unmapped and uncharted. It might have been a bit much for Henry back then. Here, listen to this. Peering through his glasses, he licks his finger and starts flipping through the book. He clears his throat and reads in a hushed, library-worthy but dramatic voice. I stand in awe of my body. This matter which I am bound has become so strange for me. I fear not spirits, ghosts, of which I am one, that my body might, but I fear bodies. I tremble to meet them. What is this Titan that has possession of me? Talk of mysteries. Think of our life in nature, daily to be shown matter, to come in contact with it, rocks, trees, wind, on our cheeks, the solid earth, the actual world, the common sense, contact, who are we, where are we? I take this in, snort out a little laugh. Wow, sounds like Henry was freaked. Definitely. He wrote this when he was near the summit of Mount Katahdin, the highest point in Maine. We were talking true wilderness, the tail end of the Appalachian Trail, the real deal. Concord was a luxury vacation in the Bahamas compared to this. I imagine Thoreau standing on his mountaintop in Maine, not the cocky, cranky guy from Concord I've gotten to know, but someone out of place, completely amazed by his surroundings, scared and humbled by his own existence on the planet. I keep meaning to go to Maine, retrace Thoreau's steps with a canoe and a camping gear. I even went out and bought a tent and a backpack, but never got around to going. One of these days, he flips through an old book and gazes at pictures of sweeping vistas from the top of Mount Katahdin. You know, sometimes I wonder if it bugged him that he never actually reached the summit. He was close, and at the time he thought he'd made it. I guess that's what's important, Thomas shrugs. Anyway, guess we'll never know. He hands the book to me. Here, read it. A modern-day Thoreau could kick ass in the Maine woods. I run my fingers over the picture on the cover, thinking of woods and waterfalls and acres of true wilderness, far away from the sounds of the highway, or a train, or best of all, people. Hiking the Appalachian Trail, all 2,181 miles of it, from Georgia to Maine, was something my dad and I used to talk about all the time. It was like our other camping trips. We're just training for runs of the real thing, the ultimate hike we would take, someday. This is probably one of my last thoughts in Concord, and I'm sitting on a moss-covered tree trunk in the banks of Walden Pond. I watch the purple and pink sunset reflect on the smooth surface of the water, try to empty my mind and let Walden do its magic. This is where I started, and this is where I'd like to end, but better equipped this time. On a rock behind me sits a backpack containing my supplies for the night. A blue sleeping bag I borrowed from Thomas, breakfast and food inside a plastic container to keep animals away, and extra layers of clothes just in case it gets cold. Just being here, ready for a campout, reminds me of the last camping trip I went on my dad. It was last summer in Hayward, Wisconsin, way up by the Minnesota border. We found this great campsite right on Lake Chippewa. I remember the day so clearly, kicking back in camp chairs, Dad cooking burgers over the campfire while I paged through one of my hiking magazines in the fading daylight. I remember everything we said and did, like it's a movie in my head. Hey, Dad, I found this article with a list of potential hazards on the Appalachian Trail, I said to him. You want to hear it? Of course. He flipped the burgers with a spatula and sent grease sizzling into the fire. We need to be prepared. Okay, let's see. Mosquitoes, biting flies, poison ivy, I read out loud. Are you kidding me? You call those hazards? I don't know. Poison ivy all over your face and body and nether regions. I call that a hazard, Dad pointed out. Yeah, but come on. Just wear heavy-duty bug repellent and stay away from shiny three-leaf plants. That's like hiking 101.